This ghostly episode brought to you by
Ooh,
Ghost Audible.
Ghost Audible. 13 Audible.
Go to audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin for 30 days free and a book to get you started. And for your book recommendation, one of the 13 Ghosts.
I recommend East of Eden by Steinbeck. It's a classic. It's very long, though, so it's hard to find the time in our modern...
Yeah, just listen. Have someone read it to you
Our
while you're
modern
driving
day-to-day
around.
life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take a road trip. Get
Learn
a classic
something
literature.
for once.
Yes. It's a beautiful book.
And if it's boring, read Stephen King.
Yeah, because Stephen King's not boring.
Yeah, right.
Guys, go to audibletrial.com/horrorvirgin and decide for yourself.
Stephen King can't write an ending.
And a book to get you started.
Oh, Mikey, Todd, I need to talk to you about the podcast
Immediately.
Now that I'm on here, let me tell you about Stephen King.
Oh,
This episode also brought to you by
Nick B.
Nick B.
We love you, Nick B.
Thank you so much for being our Burn It Down Patreon subscriber.
Yes, in honor of Nick D.
In honor of Nick D.
Nick's D, in honor of you.
No, he dropped us now. In honor of Nick B, we would like for you to go check out Preacher 6.
Yeah, Preacher6.com. It's a movie they're trying to get funded. It looks pretty good. Go check out the trailers on Preacher6.com.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again, Nick B. You're the man. If you would like a weekly shout out, go to Patreon and sign up at that Burn It Down level.
Yep.
And get in on this, nerds.
Todd, would you kindly bring in our theme music?
I'll think about it.
Hey, at least I stopped saying I just need a man to start my podcast. Right?
I mean, that's true.
It's been a while since I've said that.
I mean, your husband does help us start this podcast every
That's
time.
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%. The Podfather comes up here and starts every movie.
We cannot watch any movie
true.
without him.
Every time I think I'm going to be able to work the remote, and every
If any of us
time,
could figure out Chromecast, we wouldn't need a Corey, but no.
Jen
we
is a
definitely
lie,
do.
everyone.
Oh, welcome to the Horror Virgin, everyone. I'm Jen.
I mean, honestly, that's as much of an indictment as us, because we are men up
true.
here who are just like, hey, get the Podfather. We don't know what the fuck's going on.
Can
Say
you
my
go-
house.
Oh, right.
Get Pod Dad. What is YouTube?
I'm the Horror Virgin Todd.
And I'm Mikey.
Yeah.
I'm new.
Yay, Mikey.
Yeah. Joining us again is a very special
I guess that's true, because he was on an
Yeah.
episode before.
Exactly. Jacob.
You've been on 2 episodes before?
This is number 2.
This is
Oh,
number
I was
2.
about to say. Yeah.
you don't even remember anymore.
We got to get a punch card, so like your like 10th episode
something free?
is free. Yeah.
All right, cool.
After 4, they invite you to come on full time.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, wow. Can we actually talk about where Jacob's from?
Oh, yeah, so
I don't even think
Jacob-
we said your name.
Yeah, we said Jacob. We said
This is Jacob Hopkins from Modern Horrors.
Right. The
And-
flagship podcast of the network that we are on.
Exactly.
All right. We watched the movie 13 Ghosts.
We did,
And it
yeah.
was real bad. Is it 13 Ghosts or 13 Ghosts?
I think it's 13 Ghost $.
No, that's the sequel.
Oh, sorry.
The 13th
14th
of Ghost. 14th Ghost?
The 14th ghost is the audience.
Oh, man.
Oh.
People actually saw this movie, man.
They did. I saw
We'll talk
it.
about that when
I
we talk
spent
about
money
box
on
office,
it.
but it's interesting.
I saw
Yeah.
this movie opening weekend.
What? Really?
I took a date in high school. That's the last time I saw this film.
And you ended up together?
I learned in high school that I could never take a date to a horror movie because I took a sort of date to Blair Witch Project, and she stopped talking to me after that
Oh, because of all
in
the
any sort of
screaming.
romantic way. What?
Because of all the screaming.
There was a lot of jerking and screaming, yes, and that was during the movie.
Gross. Can't make that joke in 2019. And Jacob, you said you've been thinking about this movie, and I'd kind of been thinking about it a little
Really?
bit.
But
Yeah.
luckily, I've been thinking about it because I hadn't seen it in 17 years.
I hadn't either.
So
Yeah.
Jacob-
I should have kept it that way.
Take us through your thought process.
I was like, 13 Ghosts, that was kind of a fun movie, wasn't it? Didn't it have like cool, rad ghost designs and cool ass Matthew Lillard?
Yeah. And it had both of those things.
Yes to both of those things, and then no to everything else.
Exactly. Nothing else going for it.
Right? That's
Yeah.
hard stop.
I also remember watching the special features on the DVD of this, and they have this whole like 13-minute thing where it
did?
No, I
Watch
rented the
special
DVD.
features. Did you Redbox it or something? Like,
Redbox didn't exist when I
so
was
you
in
just
college.
straight up bought it? You went to
No,
Blockbuster.
I went to Blockbuster and I rented it.
Oh my God!
I
I
remember
can't
I was
believe
house sitting for-
Blockbuster existed.
It did. It was awesome. That was my date place back in college.
Like you
Did
had
it?
dates at
You
Blockbuster?
met your
I
date
would-
at Blockbuster?
Okay, so when I lived in
You
my
would just
old
like troll the horror section, being like, "Hey, you know what's really good?
Going down the aisles
Jennifer's
holding
body."
hands.
No, this was before Netflix and chill was a thing. So I did rent Jennifer's Body, and that was
Oh, I
my
see what you
pickup
did.
line
You're like,
for a while.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, want to go see Jennifer's Body? It worked too. So
Oh, I bet it did.
in my old neighborhood,
Jen is a married woman now, guys, but
That's
she was
true.
not always married.
Oh, yeah. So there was a Blockbuster and a wine store in the same little parking lot complex. So that was my Netflix and chill back in college.
I took my date to the actual theater because I'm a gentleman.
And it's classy. Did you get some afterwards?
I mean, I was like 17.
Tell me more. Tell me more. Did
Well, that's
you
like
get very
15
far?
years before I got anything.
Did she put up a fight?
15 years.
She,
Mikey, the 32-year-old virgin.
Mikey is the actual
Wow, did I just
virgin
math
on
that
the
right?
show.
You did that right.
Nailed it.
I got a kiss.
Well, that's
Really?
good.
I did get a kiss.
Well,
Nice.
In my Ford pickup.
Was
Like
it
green,
worth it?
Green Ford
I
Ranger.
can see you in a Ford pickup. This is before you lost all the weight.
No, back in high school, that's
Cowboy
before
hat.
I even gained the weight.
Cowboy hat, you were like, a 10. A fucking 10.
and like football players jumping in the back as you're driving down.
See,
the
okay,
Blues,
I
we
did
should've
play.
watched that
I did play
instead.
football. I was
love that
skinnier
movie.
though. Then afterwards, I gained the weight.
Yeah, I've actually never seen you. I didn't know you then, and I didn't know you when you were bigger. So I've only known you at this size, which is not big.
You're like a normal size.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you pictures of not normal
Oh, I've
size.
seen pictures of Big Mikey. Yeah, they're hilarious, but you would not expect it.
He said they're hilarious.
They are.
They are.
Mikey agrees.
Yeah, I lived it.
Yeah. So welcome back to Fat Talks, Fat Walks.
This is our 2019 New Year's resolution.
You just gotta love yourself.
You do need to love yourself.
Yeah.
Hey,
Same number.
speaking of math, Tony Shalhoub. He's
Oh
a
yeah,
mathematician.
dude. He is a mathematician.
So
You know,
wait. Okay, so
he's
hang
got
on.
curly hair.
Do you guys think that this movie takes place in the same universe
No.
as The Marvelous Miss Maisel? Because
No.
in The Marvelous Miss Maisel, he is a math professor at Columbia.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
I do love Tony Shalhoub. I think this exists in the Wings universe.
I can
Like
see
he
that.
lost all of his family and his house, so that's how he ended up driving that taxi.
My mom
All right,
liked
can
it.
we go to this fucking movie?
Yeah, so let's talk about 13 Ghosts.
You want to talk about how this thing opens up in Steve Avery's backyard?
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, except there are a lot more bodies in there, I think.
There are. And
Yeah.
Cyrus, the virus, and
Nice
Matthew Lillard is there.
Yeah, he is.
Are there?
Yeah, are there? No, they pull up in the Model T with the SWAT.
It's not a
team.
Model T.
It's not a Model Rolls Royce.
It's a Rolls
sorry.
Royce.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Rolling up gangster.
It
Between
looks like a Model T.
and a
Yeah, it
Rolls
does.
Royce.
But
It's an
a
evil
Maybach.
old-timey car. You know everything about this character Cyrus by the fact that he drives, or he doesn't drive
No,
this
he does
car.
not drive
He
it.
sits in the back of this evil old-timey
yeah.
car, and he has a cane. All right, yeah, so they're in the junkyard, and there's a bunch of, everybody's getting
Can I
out
ask
equipment.
why they went to the junkyard? Were they just collecting a certain
was a ghost
junkyard
there.
ghost?
Yeah,
There's
they're
a
getting
ghost.
the Juggernaut.
All
He's
right.
the
I had
last
no
ghost.
idea. They did not
These
make
are
that
like
clear.
Kroger brand Ghostbusters.
They are.
They are. Oh, and I even said that because they dropped down that big
They're like
the
rent-a-cop
phone booth from
Ghostbusters.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then I realized that it was the same thing as like a big thing from Ghostbusters that they
What's
catch
that
ghosts
trap thing that they
in.
have?
Yeah, that they step on and it
Yeah.
sucks them in. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
trap.
Don't look at it though.
The ghost trap, right? Okay, so yeah, we're at the junkyard. Matthew Lillard with his clear rain jacket shows up.
They all had these rain jackets on, and it's never
It
explained
was like
why.
a clear rain jacket with duct tape on it, like it was not a regular design.
Ghost
It wasn't.
armor.
Yeah, that's how you know that he's tech
I think it was
savvy.
from the Derelict collection from Zoolander.
You can't turn left in it.
Anyway, so they start collecting the ghosts. They start the sound. What?
Start collecting the ghosts.
They do.
Just picking up bits and
There's
pieces.
just ghosts everywhere.
Who left all these ghosts here?
So are they only? Well, yeah, I don't know. They don't answer that question.
Okay.
There's no. They don't tell you where
really
the
the
ghost is
question is,
there.
He throws Matthew Lillard on the ground. He makes him touch the ground. He goes, "Where's the ghost?"
Okay, so here's what
I
they're
actually
doing.
totally forgot all about that part too.
Holy
Its
shit!
evil uncle has hired all these rent-a-cop SWAT
Tony
guys.
Shalhoub's evil uncle,
Tony
not Matthew
Shalhoub's
Lillard's evil uncle, but
yes. And has hired Matthew Lillard, who's like some ghost
I think it's
catcher.
pronounced Lillard.
Lillard.
He's a
Lillard.
psychic.
Matthew Lillard.
Psychic is the word we're looking
He
for.
is a psychic. He's very attuned to the spirits.
He is the strangest psychic. He's not like a psychic like, ooh, I know what you did last summer. He's like psychic like, don't touch me. He's
Yeah.
like Bruce Willis from
Because he's a tactile psychic.
Unbreakable.
Okay, so Matthew Lillard is in charge of finding this ghost because
I
this
thought
is...
you were about to tell me he's actually epileptic.
Oh, I would believe that about him.
I said this though like halfway through the movie. I was like, I don't know if Matthew Lillard is the worst actor or the best actor, but I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah.
Like he
Yes.
was doing something and I was into it.
Oh, dude, when he was all relaxed at the end.
Oh,
he could
yeah.
get it.
Well, okay, when he was relaxed at the end, I was like, this is how this guy gets movies. Because he's not like overly handsome. He's like approachably handsome.
He's
And
got
he's
a-
just
Oh, yeah.
smooth
I know what you're
and
talking about.
confident as fuck. Like, oh, yeah, Mikey. You know, Mikey and me aim right for the middle. We're like you know what?
So Matthew Lillard tracks us.
Yeah.
We see the Greenpeace twins show up, and they're
The
getting mad.
Greenpeace twins? Oh, yeah,
remember?
yeah.
And they reminded me of the podcasters in the new Halloween too.
But
So I
she
called them
betrayed.
podcasters
She was
as well.
only.
Whoa!
Everyone has seen this movie. I'm the only person who hasn't seen this movie.
So then we get the blood truck come in.
This is my favorite part.
I think he said paint at one point though.
No,
No, it
No,
was
you said
definitely
paint.
blood.
You definitely said paint when the
No,
truck
you
started.
said
good
paint.
looking blood, but it's
Matthew
blood.
Lillard said it was blood.
Lillard. Do you think it's actual blood or you think it's CGI blood?
It's
was actual blood.
Why would they CGI that?
I don't know. They CGI'd a lot of stuff in this movie.
They CGI'd the opening credits. They CGI'd the
machine.
years,
They
right?
got a
And that's
CGI
it.
program for
That's it.
Christmas,
This
and they
this was
just wanted
before
to see what they
CGI
could do
was
with it.
cheap.
They spent $15 million on the opening credits and the machine.
And the truck of blood. Well, they said we're gonna set the trap for the ghost,
Right.
Yes.
which is just spraying blood on the cars.
I guess blood draws the
It's
ghost
true,
too.
man.
Then.
It's got to be the blood that draws the ghost in.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
So-
don't they start playing the chants or whatever?
yeah.
Or whatever?
You mean the magic spells?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God. The containment spells.
Well, these aren't the containment spells. These are the ghost drawing outing spells.
That is their technical term.
Yes.
The ghost drawing outing spells.
For you at home, the movie is that dumb.
Yeah.
It actually is. Hey,
Got
and
that
it worked.
wonderful early 2000s colored blood.
The consistency of water. It's
They
not like
didn't
corn
actually
syrup,
make it,
starchy
yes.
blood. Yeah.
Yep, see-through blood.
It's really like someone was like, oh, they ordered a truck full of blood. We only have, I don't know, 2 gallons. Well, just water it down.
We're all wrong. It's just like ghosts love Hawaiian Punch.
It's more, yes. Kool-Aid man just waiting to bust through one of those car stacks.
Oh, my God.
goes-
That is hilarious. So anyway,
So
the
it
junkyard
works.
ghost comes to get his Hawaiian Punch.
The Juggernaut, yeah.
Yeah.
So then he shows up, and my favorite was the SWAT team guy that crawled up to the very top of a tower and tried to hide in the trunk of the highest
Oh, yeah.
car. So after they get the Juggernaut,
Hey,
Uncle
this is
Cyrus
sorry, it fucks me up every time.
dies, or does
Quote
he?
unquote dies.
Yes,
Well, this is
and-
where we see Tony Shalhoub. Like we start to meet Tony Shalhoub. We don't really know at this point his uncle died, but yeah.
Exactly, yeah, and it's like the beginning of Up, you know,
No,
where
it's
we're
the yes,
seeing
the credits.
Yeah.
It's just like the beginning of Up.
It's just
There's
I actually understand what she's saying
Yeah,
because
like
it's
the
like
beginning of Up
it's
is
like a camera turning through a room, right? And you
Yeah,
see like
the
happy family
montage of
playing
the family
outside, right?
story.
And then by the time
Yeah.
it goes a full circle, Shalhoub's by himself reading or whatever, but you see like the house was fire damaged and
Yeah.
he's got that burnt
well,
picture of
halfway
his
through you
wife.
hear like
and-
get the kid. You hear
Yeah.
like the yelling and the
Yeah,
Yeah,
it goes
the-
from happy family to burned family to bills are all due on
Yes.
the bulletin board.
So
And-
just like Up. Yeah,
Exactly.
I got you now. I feel you.
Right.
Just like Up.
All right, so then we see the Up and we realize now they're in a tiny,
see the up.
now they're in an unhappy home.
Let's go back. Shannon Elizabeth is in this movie.
That's right. We realize that Shannon Elizabeth is in the movie. Dude, everything that came on the screen, Todd said their name in a funny way, or oh shit, Tony Shalhoub's in this movie.
I like Tony Shalhoub. I think he's
But
great.
it was either oh shit, that guy's in it, or weird pronunciation of this name.
Matthew Lillard. But yeah, I mean, I did because it's funny to me, and I hate scary movies, so I have to make like shitty jokes while I'm
And so
trying to
that
be scared.
CGI credits paid off, right?
So let me say this: this is the second movie we've seen with Shannon Elizabeth where she does not get naked, and I've
It's
only
damn
seen
close though.
Yeah.
she does. I've only seen 3 movies with Shannon Elizabeth: American Pie and the 2 we've seen, and she gets naked in the comedy. Does she just not get naked for horror? That seems weird to me.
What other movies has she been in?
I don't know.
Okay, so they are in an unhappy home now. It's really tiny.
It's like an unhappy apartment. Like it's
They can only afford a teeny tiny apartment, but they can afford a full-time live-in nanny.
Yeah.
Who's
Because-
not
Babysitter.
good.
Babysitter, sorry. Yeah.
She's not really a babysitter either. Like she
she
doesn't
sucks.
cook, she doesn't
basically
clean.
is a
Doesn't
paid
clean up the
wife.
scooter.
She is sort of a paid wife.
Tony
yeah.
Shalhoub
They
is,
are able to afford a rad scooter for sure too.
They are,
Let's
yeah.
be real.
And a
Laser
bunch
scooters.
of podcasting equipment for this kid.
Oh
too.
yeah, this little 8-year-old podcaster was doing it.
This was like the prequel to My Favorite Murder.
Doing all that shit on analog
Except
too.
instead of
Yes,
Karen
fuck.
Kilgareth, yeah, it's
Yeah,
this kid.
yeah.
I forget his name already.
Did he even say his name? I'm sure it was something.
Minnie Shalhoub.
Rad,
Minnie
like
Shalhoub,
Billy
yeah.
or some shit.
Yeah,
some kind
although
of
this is the
bathroom.
first time I've seen Shannon Elizabeth in the bathroom not get raped, so I was okay with that. And she was the
It's a
most
strong stance.
she was the most clothed person in the bathroom.
Yeah, she was in a bathroom and not showing her boobs.
That's
Yeah.
usually me for my insecurities.
Are you a never nude?
When you go to the bathroom, you're wearing all your clothes. Mikey's the only person I know that showers alone with swim trunks on.
No, they're denim shorts.
My dog's like around the
There are
house.
dozens of us!
All right. Oh, and they're very unhappy because they don't have any money now, and they're yelling.
Yeah,
at
and
everybody.
Shalhoub gets mad because he trips over a scooter and yells at Minnie
Spills on
Shalhoub. And
everything.
yeah, it's
He
a whole
did
thing.
spill coffee though.
He did
I don't know
spill-
if you ever
yeah.
spill coffee. That just will piss you off.
It will, yeah. After you're already ready for
But
work.
he's really nice to his son, so they're not that unhappy.
No, I mean, they're a loving
He didn't
family
hit him
still,
or
but
anything,
Exactly.
Like he
You
should
can
have.
just tell that they have a lot of stress. Then the evil lawyer shows up and says, hey,
yeah, evil lawyer does show up and says, "Hey, good news."
you have a long lost uncle that died, and he left you this totally awesome house.
Well, and like money too, right? Like he
And money.
yeah.
But I don't think they really find out about the money till later, right?
No,
It doesn't really ever fully come up. Like the only time you see money is when the lawyer is about to get it.
Right. It's almost like he's not
no.
really
The lawyer
dead.
says like, wink, wink. You never have to worry about money
He
again.
does say that, but like that never like comes to pass or anything.
Well, he's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, this is not a great
because
lawyer.
of the death house.
he's
And
not a great
He
one.
opens his laptop. He's got Diablo pulled up.
Oh,
Dude, he really does. He's like playing Diablo 2 or
He's playing
whatever.
the
fuck
original
it's called.
Diablo, yeah. Back when Blizzard was making good shit.
No one questions the fact he's got some weird devil shit as a
No,
backdrop on his fucking screen. Like what?
Oh no, he's a lawyer. He's clearly a Satanist.
It's like, do you guys like Metallica? I love Metallica. Anyway, here's the message from your
Don't
uncle.
mind this. That's my favorite Norwegian death metal band.
So then we see the evil Uncle Cyrus video, which is hilarious. And
pretty
what we
amazing.
need to do anytime we make a podcast video, we need to start just reclining in an evil chair, lighting our evil pipe. Although I think it was like a cigarello kind of
I think it was like a cigarette holder and like yeah.
Ooh, he's like blowing evil
He's like a
rings of
Dame
smoke.
actress from the 40s.
Right. He's like if
I'm dead. See? Ha!
if Cruella de
Oh
Vil
my
were
god,
a
if you could
man.
talk like that. And now it's yours, see?
So this
Real player pops up.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's the truth.
Dude, he had to minimize Winamp and then when player popped up.
shit.
I do love how like when he's explaining like if you're watching this video, I'm dead or whatever, and then they start asking questions, and then the video starts answering the
Yeah.
questions they're asking. I'm like, this is next level.
It's good to
shit.
talk to you.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll meet again.
But no one questions that shit either. Just like, yeah, that's how
They
this
don't.
works. That's how video works.
That is how
Wills.
it worked in the 2000s, right?
I don't know. My family was poor.
So the point of the video is that they have inherited his house, which it works out perfectly for them because they're living in their tiny, unhappy
Yeah, they have a
apartment.
shitty, small, one-bedroom apartment where they all sleep in Dad Shalhoub's bed.
Right, and Tony Shalhoub.
I mean, we only ever see the kitchen, though. That could have been a nice apartment. They're just
It
like
could
needy
have.
fucks.
That
Yeah,
was a
exactly.
nice apartment.
Right.
Maybe they're
And
just
it looked like they lived
ungrateful.
in a city.
like New York or some
Yeah.
shit.
Exactly.
Because they
and
go
I'll
to
be-
this house, it's all glass. It's just a piece of shit. I'd been like, what
It
the
really
fuck? No,
is.
let's go back to the
there
apartment.
are ghosts in the basement too.
It's not glass. We'll get into that in
No.
a minute.
All right,
All right.
wait, we'll get there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
My favorite
You can
part.
see inside the house from the outside.
Better.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Okay, so they do leave this scene and go to the house with the lawyer.
But I love the part in the video where it closes and then
Wait,
it
no.
opens back up because he's got his little
Oh, yeah.
quippy thing.
Yeah.
He's like,
No.
I'll see you.
Let's go back to the key to the
wink,
house
wink.
that the lawyer hands them at their other
Oh,
apartment.
yeah, totally not evil key. That's got
Oh,
like
yeah.
a pentagram on it and weird shapes.
Mikey
That
just
wasn't
did the
verbal.
strangest hand gesture I've ever seen.
Nice
Hey.
flourish
Oh,
of
and
a
that's when he
handoff.
like winky winkies, hands it to him.
I think the key had a wink on it. I really do think it was like
an
an
evil
eye like closed.
and
yeah.
it winked at the camera.
Yeah.
I was like, huh, I'm
It was
a
the
little bit of a
closed eye of
Scooby-Doo
Sauron.
moment for sure. Like, ruh-roh.
This whole movie is like Scooby Doo.
Well, and then
And
Lillard
he went on to
later,
do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, Lillard went on to
he's
do
like, I've already
Scooby-Doo.
done it once. Might
I
as well
know,
do it again.
yeah.
So
7
okay,
movies.
they then go to the house with the lawyer
They
guy,
inherit
right?
the evil house, yes.
So if you get out of the car and see the house is completely made of glass, would you
Mm-hmm.
even go inside it?
With weird writing on it.
Yeah.
I don't throw stones.
You've been sitting on that one, haven't you?
I don't think I would do that.
I mean, I'd be.
I'm rolling in.
I would
You
kinda
go
wanna
check
do
it out
that.
at least.
I would
I
not
gotta
be as
step in.
excited as this family was.
Shannon Elizabeth was losing her fucking mind about a stupid, ugly-ass bathroom.
Dude, she was like, I'm about to walk around naked.
She's never seen running water before. So
Dude,
she's
she
really
was
excited.
very impressed about
Dude.
running water. It was almost like they lived in the middle of the fucking woods.
I
and she just had to
know.
pump that shit
Like
for
she's
all
been
her life.
using an outhouse her entire
Right,
life.
right. It's like, what
bathing
is
in a
this, man?
bucket.
It just keeps flowing
You
out.
turn it and it comes out. Yeah.
The
crazy.
whole floor of this whole house is made of those little glass brick things
Those
from like
tiles?
the 80s.
blocks,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was
Stylistic
just like the
choice.
design. Like, it was
Right.
like they went to the Saved by the Bell like restaurant, The Max,
Yes.
and stole like one of the walls out of there.
They'd spent all their money on the CGI, so they had to reuse some
I
stuff.
really think this movie would have been better if like it was an actual house with this stuff inside of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's the trick. It is an actual.
This is a trap. You might as well just paint a
Oh yeah,
sign
I
on
mean
the
it
door.
looks like it from the outside. It looks
Right.
like it's the world's creepiest escape room.
Right.
What if we watched this movie and it was like a cool mansion, but with
Yeah.
like stuff built in it that makes it?
So if
do
it was like
everything?
the real world, but it was like the world's biggest escape room, honestly, MTV, get on that.
Yeah.
That is a free gift from Todd Awesome.
Like Big Brother house?
They then have the whole season to get out of the house.
yeah,
Right.
13 strangers dead, brought together to live
When
as
things
roommates.
stop getting alive and start getting real. Yeah.
Stop getting alive.
Not
can't
staying
get it.
alive.
They can't get it anymore.
I don't know, man. That angry princess, she could formerly get it. Formerly, not like me in a tuxedo. I mean, like she used to could get it before she died. All right.
That's
The couch. We're in our own podcast.
We're
chairs in the
there's
couch.
definitely team chairs, team couch.
You're from two different worlds. So we also see Matthew Lillard, who is at the house working on the phone lines or something.
Power lines.
Yeah, Matthew
Power
Lillard is
line.
there looking at the phone lines, and he wants to go look
Power
at the breaker
lines.
box.
Oh,
He says,
breaker.
says your house blew the power for 5,000 houses.
Oh, yeah.
It's only my third day, man, and the boss wants me to get on this, and he's got a whole Matthew Lillard-esque montage.
Because
about
he's
power.
honestly a pretty convincing grifter. Like, he
He
convinces them to let him inside. Tony Shalhoub's like, whatever, I just came with money. I don't give a fuck.
He's just
Let's
so
do this."
charismatic, you know?
He is.
I mean, look into those eyes.
I mean, I'd let Matthew in my house
I
for
would
whatever
too,
reason.
if he showed up and he was, yeah, like if he showed up last week when we were recording the thing when the power went out, I'd be like, absolutely, you can come in, murderer.
Yeah. Fix us, please.
Matthew Lillard, get on this podcast.
I love it.
All right.
All right.
What happens, Jen?
So then they go into the house. The key is real creepy. The whole house is creepy.
Oh, I do like how Tony Shalhoub puts the key in the lock and then it takes it from him. It's like those bank like teller machines or where you put your card in, it like takes it from you.
Eats it.
Yeah, I'm like, what
You'll
the
never
fuck?
be able to
What?
get back into your house again.
And no
But
one
then-
questions it
Well,
at
no,
all.
Minnie Shalhoub is like, oh, you broke it because the door doesn't immediately open.
But we all know what doors look like and act like. This is not a regular door.
I know. At this point, I would definitely walk away.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't even open where they're standing. It's like a whole other side
Yeah.
of the wall.
Yeah.
And like, let's just address how long this scene takes. Like, why does this
does.
scene take so long?
Well, because they have to
Just open
start the
door.
swinging mechanism that then
I mean,
unlocks
I
the
feel-
Otherwise,
13
the
ghosts.
movie would last like 60 minutes.
It
Would've
should
been
have.
pretty good. Well, it was like an hour 30, and as bad as this movie was, it was fucking flying.
It did go
It
by
was
real
bad.
It
fast.
doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
No, yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Because
An anomaly.
there is a montage of them just staring through the house and talking about how they wish bathrooms were in the basement.
I mean, that's really
They all
most
go
of the
inside. They're
movie.
like, this house is so cool. Look at all this stuff we can see because there's no walls.
And it is cool to walk through, but terrible to live in.
Yeah, I would not. It would be like a really cool. I don't know, like if there was a museum for escape rooms.
Yeah.
Like it would be cool.
This was the original escape room, I think.
I think the movie that's currently in the theaters called Escape Room, rip this movie off, haven't seen the new movie Escape Room.
And there's different themes for different rooms.
There are. And it's clear
One's
that
the
like
boat
there's a room for
theme.
Shannon Elizabeth, there's a room for the child, there's no room for the maid, there's no room for Tony Shalhoub, there's no room for Matthew
It
Lillard.
actually doesn't make sense at all.
It doesn't. It's like a bait house.
A bait and switch.
Switch.
Oh.
Nailed it.
Switches.
The kids do disappear.
They
and
do.
there are switches that get flipped in it.
Exactly.
And like rotating shit that no one addresses.
No,
right in
yeah.
the middle of the
so,
fucking
okay,
house.
This is
Kids just like scootering around it.
This So this
Fucking
happens
weird.
right after they walk in. So the door opens, they walk in, Razor scooter goes around and around and around and around, the spinning floor in the middle. Why would you not immediately leave?
Exactly.
Be like, oh, this floor sucks, I'm out.
Well, don't even ask a question like, "Hey, why does the floor spin here?"
Yeah.
They're just like, "Nah, don't step on
And-
that shit. Let's go to the
Right.
next room."
In
No,
the lawyer's head, he's just thinking, don't ask about the spinning floor, don't ask about the spinning floor, don't ask
And
about
no
the
one
spinning
mentioned the ropes and pulley systems all over the house.
floor. I know.
Yeah.
There's
I think
exposed
the door
pulleys.
lock actually opens on a grandfather clock system, and once it hits like
Well,
high noon or something,
those
that's
are the
when
locks for
door
the 13 Ghosts.
Well, I know, but it looks
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
yeah. Then
grandfather
yes,
clock.
they absolutely do. It's very
Gene
confusing.
and Todd are both doing the robot trying
We
to
are.
explain the grandfather
But that's
clock
what it looks
arm.
like.
So then creepy lawyer. So they're
Wait,
walking
I just
around.
realized there's 13 jail cells in the basement and no one mentions that either.
Yes. Well,
big
and
deal.
it's clear the lawyer knows. Well,
Yeah. Oh,
there's
the
some,
lawyer knows. Yeah.
there's more scenes with Shalhoub and the lawyer, but
Now,
pretty
the
much
lawyer had gorgeous eyes.
he did. Tony Shalhoub and all the family, pretty much every character in this movie is in that room with a spinny wheel in the center, right?
Right.
In the floor.
Yeah.
And then Shalhoub and the lawyer have to go sign some paperwork, so they don't do it there. They go to the office in this house.
Yeah.
And he says, don't go anywhere to the maid, Shannon Elizabeth, and Minnie Shalhoub.
Yes, because he said, look at all this expensive stuff. We're rich now. Don't touch all the
Yeah,
expensive
don't break
stuff.
anything. Anyway, so he bones out, and then immediately the maid's like, fuck, let's go check out this house. So they go check out the house.
Because that's the whole point.
But this is where
Yeah.
the whole movie falls apart because of how excited they are to have this house and not question any of the weird shit that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. Tony Shalhoub, I think, is questioning it a little bit.
Well, all the glass walls have Latin writing all over them too.
Well,
no
is
one
it
mentions-
Latin or yeah? I mean, something. It's some
It's
foreign
evil
language.
no one
language.
talks about it, so I don't know.
I think it's a cold.
No one does address that, do they? No one's like,
They
wonder
don't.
what this means. They're just like, yeah, cool. Saw this on House Hunters.
Or the giant spinning pentagram in the middle of the foyer. There's a long time of them just wandering around this house. Then Matthew Lillard goes
like
down.
20
whole
minutes.
movie.
It is. It is. Well, this is also where interspersed with them like walking around the house, you see like these doors opening and ghosts walking out.
And
right.
you see glasses too.
That's true.
Yes.
And glasses are sort of strategically placed in these different rooms.
It's almost like someone wanted you to put
Yeah.
them on.
So it's Shannon Elizabeth goes to the bathroom. That's the
well,
only
hold on,
room
but
she cares
Matthew
about.
Lillard goes down into the basement and
Well, yeah,
wanders
because he's
around
looking
for
for.
a while. Yeah,
well,
and
he
that's what
says
you
the
said.
fuse box.
Oh,
but
it's like ghost jail.
Well,
Which
yeah.
I'm not sure why Matthew Lillard was there. Was he trying to set some ghosts free or what?
He was trying to save the family.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
that's
trying to save the
right,
family.
because he found out what the devious
Right,
plan
right.
was.
Because the wife thing, we get to it later.
Evil
Yeah.
lawyer just wants to go down and get the money out of the evil
the money.
office.
I mean,
Fuck
yeah,
on
he
out.
wants to get the
Yeah.
money and run.
And so he picks up the briefcase full of money off of one of the ghost pedals, and that's what starts
There's like
unleashing
3
all the
pedals.
ghosts.
It's like they,
Yeah, I don't
like, they
think it
didn't
was a
have
ghost
any, like,
pedal. Those
the-
pedals existed.
That
They
was
did.
the sustain pedal on the ghost
It was.
piano.
It was like a piano. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It looked more like a car to me. It's like they just ran out of things.
Oh,
They
yeah,
got them
it's
at Steve
sort of-
Avery's place. The pick apart
Somebody
thing.
pulled apart the
Because
thing.
you had your clutch, your brake, and your gas. And
Yeah, it did have those.
Use
You're
all
right.
3 as opposed to just one pedal.
Exactly. And by lifting the briefcase off, that's what activates all the ghosts.
That Indiana Jones shit.
Starts opening the stuff, and it opened up the angry princess, right?
I think so.
I'm pointing at Todd because that was Todd's
And
favorite
sealed the
ghost.
doors out.
That is
Yeah.
true.
It
yes.
did. So that's when
More
the doors
importantly-
closed from the outside, and also opened the Angry Princess's vaults.
Yeah, an evil lawyer, he's walking to the evil office, and he's looking at all the ghosts, and he's like flicking them off, and he's like, hey,
Yeah, he's like,
topless
yeah.
ghosts.
I think he even
Ugh.
says "nice tits" to the Angry Princess. Yeah.
Yeah, so-
and I mean, it's factually accurate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got fun facts about that.
Oh.
I've got facts and backstory on all of these ghosts, too.
Well, I wish the movie would have had those.
I know, right?
That's why you got to go to Blockbuster and get the special
Jesus
features. So, evil lawyer activates the ghosts, lets out the angry princess. She's like creeping up
Is
on
it a
him.
knife she has?
The fun fact I had said butcher knife, but it's a big knife.
It is a big knife, whatever it
Sticky,
is. Yeah.
And so he backs up, and then one of the doors closes and closes right on him. and
This
splits
was
him in
rough
half.
for me.
Yeah.
This is, I think, honestly, this is the only moment in the movie that sort of grossed me out in a very real way, and I didn't expect it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I jumped a little bit too.
Yeah, backstory. The house is filled with a bunch of sliding doors like at a retail store.
Yes.
Apparently
Yes.
that are super rad, too. Super sharp and
It reminds
super
me
well
of
built.
Star Trek a little bit. All the doors in Star Trek, just without the sound effect.
What's weird because on the opening credits you see Greg Nicotero's name in the special effects. You know, he's done a ton of things. He's very talented, but nothing looks Greg Nicotero-esque until this kill, which
I was
is
about to
pretty
say, because this
fucking
looks
rad.
really good.
This is
I
the
think.
best kill of
It
the
is
movie.
gross, and then it's so out of place because nothing else is like it for the rest of the movie.
Right, because they spent all their money on this.
That's true. It blew their wad right here.
Right. Yeah, the
I mean,
Matthew
and the
Lillard
torso
thing,
looked pretty good, but you only see it in one shot, and they
Yes.
reuse that shot.
Yeah. So he gets split in half, and this is the one thing that I remembered about this movie, and he just kind of slowly goes to the floor. His glasses fall off first, then his tie falls off. It's awesome.
Yeah.
They were going to milk this scene, too.
But it
I
costs a lot
did
of
not
money.
like it. Yeah, I'm sure they
It's
did.
like that part in Resident Evil, and I think it happens in Cube, too, where the body gets split apart and then just, falls down.
And the blood's different in this one too. The blood looks more realistic. It's not
Yeah,
that like
yeah.
fucking Kool-Aid Jim Jones shit. It's a cool scene. It just doesn't fit with the rest of the movie. Which
Right.
I wish the rest of the movie.
Yeah, this
was
scene
like
looks like it's from a better movie.
It does.
Very early 2000s look to it, you know.
Well, I mean, this came out
The
2001,
frame rate
so
is
yeah.
way too high on this fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's cranked to 1,000.
It looks like it's on Telemundo.
It really does. How about you, Tony?
So then Matthew Lillard goes down into the ghost basement. He's still wandering around, and he's having like a little Matthew Lillard like seizure orgasm on the
Lillard.
floor. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Pardon
Lillard.
me. And he's like freaking out because he's starting to see all the ghosts.
Yeah.
And they're tracking him down.
He's feeling them.
And he's like genuflecting all over the floor. And
But is in this scene where you see like the flashes where he
Yes.
starts to see visions or whatever.
Yes,
and
he-
you've seen this in other scenes. Like there's the scene in The Office where Lillard's still wearing the orange jumpsuit before he takes it off and reveals he's wearing a blazer underneath and all that shit. But like Tony Shalhoub's touching him and he sees like the flashes of his family
Did we
or whatever.
skip that scene?
no,
Where
Yeah, we
he's
skipped
still
it.
down in the basement. And
Oh,
he's
shit, we haven't got
freaking
there
out
yet.
because he's seeing all the ghosts. And I think he sees that one of them's gotten out or something. And that's when he comes back up and he says, "You have to get the fuck
That's right,
out of
you're right,
here."
you're right.
He takes off his orange jumpsuit to reveal himself to be Matthew Lillard the whole time. And he says, "There are a bunch of ghosts
I would
down
have got away with it too.
I'm Matthew Lillard.
Oh wow.
So he's explaining. I wrote, Matthew Lillard comes clean. He tells him all this. And this happens pretty quickly in the
It
movie.
does.
I actually think this movie's a sequel to Summer Catch with Matthew Lillard's
I haven't
character.
seen Summer Catch.
What?
Is that the baseball movie?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Team Couch.
Yes.
Team Couch. I got you, bro.
Thank God. Okay, I'll explain the joke to you then. He doesn't make it to Major League Baseball, so he starts hunting ghosts.
God, that
Well,
came
and
out
one of the ghosts
around
hits
this
him
time.
with a baseball bat a bunch.
The theory.
Theory holds. I mean, we got to workshop it a little bit.
The theory holds, guys. The theory holds.
All right.
The shit floats.
So this is when he goes back. So this is when he goes back up and talks to Tony Shalhoub in the office with the lawyer, right?
Yes, and he's like, "You guys got to get the fuck out." I think the lawyer might already be dead. And then Shannon Elizabeth goes and just enjoys the fuck out of a bathroom. And then she's sitting in the bathtub, and they go in. She goes into this glass window bathroom and just starts like admiring her hair in the mirror for
But just like
hours.
the little tweak
Ever.
parts of her hair, though. Like
Yes.
not her actual whole
She's
head of
got
hair.
a ponytail.
She's hot. She could get it for sure. So they were just milking that as much as
were.
they could. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, she's in a bathroom and it's Shannon Elizabeth, so you're gonna
Yeah.
get your money.
Playing
I-
with your expectations.
I-
I did
Exactly.
sort of like the shot where they wanted you to see what
Pulls
the
a
room
fast one.
looked like through the glasses, even though the glasses she wasn't wearing them. So they shoot it through the glasses,
Oh,
and then I thought that was a cool
I
shot.
didn't notice that.
This was when the movie was still pretty decent.
So, okay, but what we see through the glasses is there's blood all over this bathroom.
I'm sorry is written on the floor.
I'm sorry, yeah, and I've got a fun fact about that.
Oh.
And so the naked
So you
ghost,
needed an encyclopedia to understand this fucking movie. I
Yeah.
got it.
watching the special features thing is more enjoyable than watching the movie, and it's only 13 minutes. So she's sitting in the bathtub, and it's full of blood, but Shannon Elizabeth doesn't see any of this. She's too busy fixing her hair in the mirror and then going marveling at running water.
Yeah,
so she
like-
turns the
Oh,
water.
It's pretty rad. I don't know
A
if you guys have seen it.
bathtub. Yeah.
I mean,
Indoor plumbing
It's
is
pretty cool.
rad.
It's pretty cool.
honestly, I would not want to live without indoor
In
plumbing.
2019, you guys should try it.
Yeah. It's about time, guys.
That's what we need for the pod law.
The future.
So she's like taking this water in her hand and splashing it on her face like she hasn't had a bath in 20 years. The naked ghost is sitting there and about to attack her, and then
About to
something
stab her,
happens. Yeah, and then like
And then
Tony
Shalhoub comes up and
shows
goes, "Where's your brother? I told you to stay in the room downstairs."
And he did.
And somehow that scares her from killing her.
Right.
Which is the only time this happens.
I know. Yeah, I'm not sure why that
Very
scared
curious.
her off. Because
Well,
a
she
man-
watched Angry Princess Ghost, was like nice to Shannon Elizabeth because she watched her
That
do the
is
will of the
true.
wisp of the
That's
hair.
true.
Then she gets in the bathtub with her. She just wants a friend.
She might have seen a lot of herself in Shannon Elizabeth.
Game, respect, game.
Yeah.
So
real recognizes real.
when she does start to get upset is when the blood starts coming out of the faucet and she's about to put her blood on the face, but then Shannon Elizabeth backs off. So maybe she just didn't want people like bathing in her blood.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is legit.
I get it.
Yeah. So the ghosts are starting to get out, and Bobby's just tooling around in the basement on this little scooter.
Yeah, cool, because he hears his mom's voice.
He does.
And
He-
a kid's
well,
voice.
He hears
And another voice. Yeah,
he
two
hears
voices.
the lady's voice, the bound lady's voice saying,
Yes.
"Hey, come down here and play with us." And then
Miss
he hears his-
Autoerotic Asphyxiation is her name.
Yes. Mrs. David Carradine.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so sad.
Careful. But the mom is telling him, "Don't go down here. Don't go down
And
here."
this little asshole does not listen.
I
He's
know,
a-
because he's like, "Mom."
punk.
So then he follows her. So what she should have done was
Get
stay
out of here,
quiet.
you little bitch.
Exactly.
He probably would have still went down there. He didn't seem like the
probably would
brightest.
No, Bobby. Razor scooters, come on. Get a skateboard.
He
get
had
some footage
fallen
for the
off that
podcast.
scooter a couple times. I did not see him wearing a helmet, so I think there
No,
was
he-
definitely some trauma to the head.
To be fair, his hair was so spiky the helmet probably wouldn't have protected
He
much.
just bounces off of that hair. Just-
Right, it only protects from here up.
Had so much
I bet
product.
his podcast sucks.
I know. I bet the sound quality is
I
just
like this
terrible.
podcast. He's like, suicides outnumber. I was like, wow, this kid's got it going on.
He's
They
got
found a head
facts.
behind that Dunkin' Donuts. So then Bobby gets stuck in the basement, and the adults go on a mission to try
We
to
don't know
find
Bobby
him.
gets stuck in the basement. We just don't see Bobby again
Yeah,
for the rest of
Bobby's
the
You
film.
were
Really
literally
bad.
don't see him
Yeah.
again until the very end of the movie.
yeah, Bobby
Yeah.
just gone.
It disappears.
They couldn't afford to pay a tutor for him to be
No
on set.
explanation.
He
for
goes
so
down the
long.
stairs. No more Bobby.
We've had Bobby for like 5 hours, and now we have
I
to
know.
get
Child
rid of him.
labor
So,
laws.
let's just write him out. until the-
Exactly.
It's a wrap on Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby.
And
Day one, he's done.
And then you do kind of forget about him for a while.
Hell yeah. I was actually pretty happy that he was gone.
I know. I don't like him very much. All right. So then we see the hammer. And that's when Matthew Lillard starts to explain the rules.
Can't touch this.
He looks like the ghost of what's that?
John Henry?
Yes.
Yes!
Yeah.
Team Couch.
baby.
Yeah.
Hashtag Team Couch. This
I hate
podcast is
Team
taking a
Couch.
turn.
We gotta lock it up, Jen.
Team Chair.
Team chairs.
Look
will
at them.
shit
They're
the
feeling
bed right
insecure.
now.
Team Couch.
On fire.
Yes.
Yeah,
We're
so John
complete-
Henry here.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn down Team Couch's mic.
Mute the whole time we're just talking, but final episode, there's
I'm
nothing.
gonna record on my phone. I'm gonna release our own podcast.
We can redeem ourselves with a musical parody.
Yes.
Start working on it.
Yeah.
Give me my hammer pants.
All right, so then they see the hammer. Matthew Lillard.
It's
Matthew
Lillard.
Lillard. Hey, I said it. Explains the rules because there are certain rules that one has to abide by when keeping ghosts in ghost jails in a haunted
yes.
mansion house.
Naturally.
So he's telling us that this is when we learn what ectoglass is, right?
No,
Is it
we
ectoglass?
don't.
What do they call
We
it?
don't learn what ectoglass is.
Ectobar glass.
Ectobar
Ectobar
glass.
glass.
Ectobar.
That
Oh,
shit, like he expects everyone else to know what the fuck that means.
exactly. This is what keeps the ghosts from getting through. Duh. They're
then he
a
gives you all
ghost.
the, all
They're
the,
not alive
He does really
anymore.
sort of ghost knowledge shame them. Yeah. Like,
really does.
you know that shit you guys have never heard about? Stop being stupid about it.
You mean containment spells?
Ectoplasm. Yeah.
So dumb.
It's like Tony Shalhoub and his family like walked into Comic-Con because that woman appears too, and she's like, "That's a magnesium flare," and he's like, "What the fuck is all of
What
this?"
are you doing?
I keep trying to make it a Space Odyssey joke, and it's just not happening.
2001: A Ghost Odyssey. Bam, got it.
Would have been a better movie.
I love how Jen's been working for an hour and 8 minutes to come up with this 2001 Space Odyssey joke. You just bring up the premise and Mikey nails it down.
Did ya? So Matthew Lillard explains the rules, but he's an asshole, but I still love him. And then the jackal attacks Shannon Elizabeth.
The Jackal does?
The jackal is the box head.
Oh, Jackal's
guy.
box head. That's right. And the Jackal does attack Shannon Elizabeth, but that's not till later.
No, it
The whole
drags on,
middle
man.
45 minutes are like the same scene over and over
It
again.
Well, it's all
In the
like
same
corridors.
corridor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like when they shoot like Saved by the Bell, they have like two hallways and they just shoot it in different like angles of the same two hallways. Yeah, it's the same thing in this movie, but it's like with creepy corridors.
There was
Love
literally
Saved
like
by the
2 sets, and they just
Yeah.
tried every angle possible to make it look like multiple sets.
Right, and half of it is glass, so you could.
I mean, fair.
It worked out, you know. Sometimes you
No,
got
no,
writing.
there was,
to do.
Worked out is a strong word.
It is a very that's a stance to take for sure.
It's actually 2 words, Mikey. Ooh, yeah.
Team chair.
Team chairs. Hashtag team chairs. Team couch could suck it. All right. So
All right,
Is the
we're coming
jackal
back, man.
Is the jackal male or female though? I always
Male.
thought it was a chick, but you
It's a
said
male.
it's a dude.
I thought it was a chick too, team
Do
chair.
you want to hear the story of the jackal now, or do you want me to save it till sunset?
Yeah, we might as well because otherwise we
Okay,
go
so
farther
the
into this movie.
jackal, his name is Ryan Kuhn. He was
Spell that for me.
Is that the actor?
Kill
no, the name of the actual ghost, Ryan.
Oh,
Kuhn.
okay.
They actually bothered to give this fucking
They
name.
did, dude.
Why?
They've got backstories and names for all 13.
And that's
of
what's
these
so
ghosts.
sad about this movie.
I
It
know.
could have been cool.
Put
but you
it in
didn't
the
do it.
movie.
Oh my
This is
God.
what you
Was it
had.
2 different? Like one guy was in charge of directing and one guy was in charge of this part.
Like
And it was
creating a
Probably.
mythos or whatever?
This guy went through like a whole like Tolkien-esque history, and
Right.
the director was like, "Fuck all that shit."
He wrote the 13
The
Ghosts
Simil-
Silmarillion,
Right.
and then they didn't use it.
Fucking
They're just
3
like,
years in the making.
let's just show tits.
It
It's like
actually,
all those words in the glass were actually a language he created. It's like, come on, guys, I worked so hard.
I spent 10 months in a foxhole writing Elvish as a language, and you didn't use it in the movie?
Yeah, we only got 2 sets, so
He's like, look, we really like the tit one. We like the tit ghost. The rest of them, though,
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
go.
We'll give
We're
her
gonna
a
short it up.
backstory.
All right, tell me about the jackal, though.
He murdered a lot of sex workers,
Okay, that seems fair.
but he wanted to stop, so he committed himself to an asylum.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he was still crazy.
Why is he mad?
So he attacked a nurse.
Okay.
And so they put him in a straitjacket, and they put him in that straitjacket for so long that his arm, they just left him in the straitjacket all the time.
That's
and
not
so
ethical.
his arm, exactly. So his arms started to like contort, and he started to try to gnaw the straitjacket off. And that's when they put that
They put the
cage
egg
on
crate
his
on his
head.
head.
Exactly. And they just left it there forever. And so then his hair grew out, and they put him down in the basement. And then one day, a fire in the asylum happened.
Uh-oh.
And he chose to stay down in the basement.
Flamecopter strikes again.
I came for you, Jackal. You killed my sister. Flame tricycle.
She had fallen on hard times. Flamecopter
Just
gets
trying to earn
revenge.
money to feed her son.
So that story was like better than the entire movie.
I know.
Telling you, there are 12 better stories here.
What the fuck happened here?
And I'll
Yeah, where are we in the story?
So Shannon Elizabeth got jackaled, and so he's got these really long fingernails because they left him down in the
Yeah, you
basement,
can't
and
cut
his
the
hair
things.
grew really long, and so he's just slashing.
He's
up.
just jackling off all over her.
He is because he had Team Couch.
Yeah.
Because,
Team Couch.
because
I'm going to go Team Chair.
Team Chair.
Team Chair can't even
was an
get their
uncle.
own. They're just giving waypoints.
Yeah,
I
Team
love how
Council,
you
you have to
said-
work for this.
Just stay here.
oh man.
You said Team Couch and I co-signed it so hard. Anyway, so she's
gotta
getting
come back.
jackaled.
Winning.
And the jackal like scratches off all her clothes.
Oh
and
my
there
God,
is-
we were so close to seeing some Shannon. Oh.
You see that part of her bra has come loose, but you don't see
It looked like it
anything.
cut open, but later
did.
it's totally fine.
And that's when new mom with her flamethrower light thing
I
comes in.
love the new mom. That was awesome.
I know, Todd said new mom, and I just went with it for the rest of the movie.
I thought it was hilarious.
It is
Magnesium
hilarious.
flare, you fucking noob. Jesus
Oh, sorry.
Christ.
How dare
I feel
I?
like you've hunted some ghosts before.
Layman's terms, please. She's one of the Greenpeace twins from the beginning.
Yeah, Indiana Jane comes in, throws her magnesium flare, and saves Shannon Elizabeth's
She's-
boob from popping out.
Budget ass Resident
Very
Evil
upset
here.
about that.
And then they like drag her by her feet through all of the hallways as the
Oh,
jackal.
yeah. And those
Because
shots of
clearly
her
she doesn't
looking
work
up-
anymore.
And she's not like unconscious. She's like, pull me faster.
Yeah, so they're just like dragging her like with her head trailing behind this jackal ghost. Yeah.
Pull me faster, Tony Shalhoub.
Pretty
Because
damn
the
close.
jackal's gonna get me. Then new mom explains it all, and she says that the house is like a machine.
She's a hip new mom though. She's got that nose nose piercing.
And she got
Nice
some
little diamonds.
chainmail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And she knows all about ghost hunting.
She do.
She does, yeah. She's got all the lingo. Plus, she's
See,
got
her
those
and Matthew
flares.
Lillard should just got it on. They're the only two that knows what the fuck going
They
on.
should, except they
and
hate
they were
each
walking
other.
around shaming everybody who didn't know what
They
was
really
going on.
were, yeah. They can just enjoy their
I really just
superiority
feel like this
together.
family walked in on like a LARP session.
What's LARP?
Oh my god, live action role playing?
Oh my God. Team
How do you
Couch.
not know?
Magnesium missile. Magnesium missile.
Oh,
No, I
my
have a
God.
D20 roll, my god. My armor made out of ectobar blocks that.
Yeah, what are you guys talking about? Learn the ghost stuff, okay?
Then talk to us.
Did you not even bring your own gear? My god.
Haven't you read the Necronomicon?
Oh my jeez.
Is it actually? I don't think it is.
Oh my God.
So
It's
many
like
people
the-
are so mad right now. I hate these guys.
I know. We don't have
They're
that.
definitely the ones that are going to write in.
Hey, at Jacob Hopkins.
Please do. Send me all your angry
Modern
tweets.
Art.
I am
And
more
you
than
can tweet
happy
us
to read
at Team Couch.
them. Yeah, make sure to add in hashtag Team Couch. Otherwise, I won't see it.
I may or may not have done live action role playing at some point in time.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie though, Todd. I'd LARP with you.
I'd do
Like I
it.
wouldn't be super deep into it, but I'd have a good time.
You wouldn't get
I
super
mean,
deep into
honestly,
that
it's-
LARP with
not
Todd.
super deep into
It's
that
just
LARP
people
world, but
like pretending and playing like you were when you were kids.
Fuck
Just
yeah.
adults doing it. It's not
Yeah.
that
I do that
bad.
now. It's all about pretend to work.
All right, so then what happened? New mom has explained it all. She said the house is a machine for the devil, which no shit, because it doesn't look like a house. There's a whole bunch of Matthew Lillard like trying to escape ghosts down
As
in
there
this
should
tunnel.
Hmm.
They're all, and at one point he gets stuck in a room and he's like, "Thanks, maid. I'm now
I
stuck
will
in
say
the
this:
room."
Tony Shalhoub and New Mom are hanging out, talking, learning things about ghosts or whatever, and each other.
Yeah.
And they turn around, and Shannon Elizabeth is gone, and we don't see her again until the very end too.
That's right. Yeah, we kind of just forget. Then Lillard gets trapped in this room and he gets beat by the baseball bat ghost. And then
The
I don't know how.
greaser baseball guy.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah, what
choice
is
of
his
ghost
what is his
design.
deal?
Yeah,
What's
give us his
name?
backstory.
Yes,
I want to hear
please.
about the other movie I want to see besides this movie.
He is the
Tell me the movie we didn't get.
he's the torn prince.
Sure he is.
And he is a hotshot baseball player, but he's an asshole too. And he's got this hot rod car.
Of course
and
he does. I saw the jacket.
Exactly. Yeah, and he gets in a drag race with somebody, but he loses control of his car, which may or may not have been because of a cut brake line by a
Listen
rival
to the James
baseball
Dean
team.
song. I heard this
I
one
know.
before.
So then he gets into a fiery car accident, and he
Yep.
gets all torn up because they have to drag him out from under the car, but he dies. So
Again, a better
that's
movie.
his deal.
So it wasn't a better movie,
Exactly.
Every
13 Ghosts
scary,
song.
quote unquote, scary scene in this movie is hurt to me by the flashing of, like, the ghosts flash in existence and out of existence so much
Yes.
that nothing seems scary at all.
That flashing isn't even that scary. Like, I hate jump
No.
scares, and these are not really jump scares.
Well, yeah, it's not
No.
scary. It's not a jump scare, and you don't even get a good look at the ghost most of the time.
Right.
That's
Which
a big
is-
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which for like this movie should be really scary. And we were talking about before you guys got here whether we thought Todd was going to be scared by this. And I
was
thought
scared
he
by
was.
some. I'll be honest. I was scared by some of it. The dude getting split in half was by far the scariest thing.
Because that's the only thing that comes out of the
Yeah.
blue, really, other than just a ghost like having his face in the glass. But at a certain point, you realize that there's glass in between you, and so there's no threat, really.
And every time they hit the glass, there's like a nice little sparks
Yeah.
fly everywhere.
Well, they don't
Ecto-
explain it, but that's
Kinda goopy.
Ectobar.
Yeah, the Ectobar doing its Ectobar thing. I get
Ectobar
that, obviously.
friction.
I'm not a ghost noob. I
not
read
like
the
Team
manual.
Chair over
I
here.
read the manual.
Stop talking bad about our own team.
Sorry. I already gave them a point. All right. So then Matthew Lillard tactical rolls out of this baseball
Oh my
bat
God, he
prison.
does.
It is really cool.
That was
Well,
pretty
this is
rad.
when he was running around with the maid.
Yeah.
And he did that with that sweet blazer on and that shirt.
So then they escape the dungeon after fighting off Jackal, the Hammer, the Stock Lady, like all kinds of crazy ghosts just keep following them around. Not really being that scary, but they're running away from
Yes,
them. Then
because
they climb
climbing
up.
a ladder is the best way to escape.
I don't think it was a ladder so
Exactly.
much. It was they climbed up.
It looks like part of an elevator shaft with
I think
no
it is, yeah.
elevator.
Cable's fucking everywhere. That
I
make no
know.
sense. It's just like part of the design choice, I guess.
That's how they have to know how to turn the power in Jurassic Park back
But
on.
yeah, clearly ghosts cannot climb cables and or go
They
to the
can't.
second story.
Yeah, the ghosts just
Exactly.
look up and they're like, well,
I think-
Motherfucker, how did they know?
Well, it's because they're ecto cables.
Oh,
So the
that's
ghosts
a good
can't climb.
I like a
Oh.
point. Ecto
Team
lube.
chair. Team motherfucking chair.
Ecto lube all over the place and just can't get up it.
All right, so Lillard
Exactly.
Flare saves the day by taking his flare and throwing it into
That's a good throw.
Stock Lady throw. Yeah, he suddenly
oh, because
realizes
Shaloub gets attacked.
Shaloub does. He's like, hey,
Remember, he gets his
remember
back
me,
ripped up.
guys? Yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
He's gonna have scars on his back and make him look like he's amazing at sex.
That's true. Or a predator.
Okay, I was very glad you said predator.
So then Matthew Lillard saves the day. He and New Mom fight a lot. He reveals how hard it is to have the touch because he can never find true love because every time he tries to sleep with a woman,
I don't-
he can see all of her past
I don't think that
guys.
happened. Did that happen?
Yeah.
He talked about sleeping with women?
He
well,
did
he
talk
talked about
sleeping
how
with
it
women.
is when
Sleeping with her.
you can't have like physical contact with someone when all you're seeing is the shittiest parts of their lives.
Yeah.
Flanagan stole
That's
that for Hill
dating.
House.
I mean,
All right, so then
Oh, he touched Tony and then he sees that the wife
he
died.
did.
yeah, we find out that the fourth ghost is the mom.
yeah, she's the mom that slept in gum.
Yeah.
This is not very good burn makeup
It's
at
not
all.
at all.
It really
It's
isn't.
Some of the worst. I've seen cosplayers do better than this.
Yeah, I feel like burn. Now I don't know anything about burn makeup or special effects, but I feel like that's a pretty easy one to do.
I know enough to know that's not good.
Which is sad because she's like the ghost we see the most of. And she
She's
has
the ghostess
worst,
with the mostest.
The ghostess we see the
Yeah.
mostest.
Nailed it.
But she has the worst makeup.
So much so that even at the end, when all the ghosts are going away, you see her and they're like, "Do you want to put her makeup on?" Like, no.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
like, "Hey, your call time's 4 a.m. because we got to put that makeup." She's like, "Fuck you, I'm not putting makeup on
Exactly.
anything. I'll just stand there looking great."
All right, so then New Mom explains the machine.
It's some 15th century philosopher who like
But he has a Greek name from like the 1st century.
yeah.
Yeah,
He was
Stavros
tripping balls
Evolos.
and designed this house.
Yeah.
Tripping, I think
It's
you mean
not a house,
demonically
it's a
possessed.
machine.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Futuristic house. At
Yeah.
that. He's like, look, a couple thousand years, they're gonna have this shit. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's
Look.
the house of the future and of
Y'all
the
don't know what
devil.
ectoplasmic glass is yet. You're not ready
But
for it.
when you guys discover ectoplasmic glass,
I'm gonna look like a genius.
yeah,
So there's
Yeah.
3 pedals.
like a piano, yeah, like a piano.
Like a
Starts the
piano.
whole thing.
So what's going to happen is he's going to start doing some chant thing, and the ghosts are all going to go to the center to open the Oculera Inferno or something, which is, I think, translates to the Eye of the
I
Devil.
think Dante wrote that, right?
He did.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anytime you throw Oculus in there, it already downhill turn. You know that's coming. Downhill
Flanagan,
turn.
You're my favorite. All right, so they say we need the 13th ghost because that's the name of
Surprise!
Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub is supposed to be the 13th ghost, and this is all a plan from evil uncle because he now has to save his kids, and he's going to have to make a sacrifice of true love and jump into the middle of the grinding gears thing.
You're just reminding me how convoluted the expositional parts of this movie
Dude.
are.
I know.
Yeah.
I
There's
wrote-
that one scene after Tony Shalhoub's back gets all messed up where they're like in a room talking. This is before they go back downstairs with the ectoplasmic glass or whatever, right? And they're like dropping exposition like
Oh, yeah.
Eminem
I
is
wrote
dropping
down-
a diss track. It's so
It's like 15 minutes.
heavy-handed.
We start talking.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
did. We were like, okay, that's enough.
There are like 3 different sections in here, and I said so and so explains it all. So and so explains it all because it doesn't make sense. Because what this movie is just a bunch of creepy ghosts running around, and we need the backstory.
You know what I hate about this too, especially when the machinery comes in, is that it's the worst movie in the world about giving you an idea of the space. Like you have no
Yes.
idea where the
Yes,
fuck you are at any given moment.
Yeah,
and
well,
how it
okay, so
connects.
there's that part where everything's exploding. Well, this is at the very end when Tony
Right.
Shalhoub is like saving his kids, but like the house is exploding from all over the house, and it keeps cutting to those explosions, and then back to the room that Tony Shalhoub and his kids in, where nothing
fine,
is happening.
everything's fine.
But I was under the impression that they were at the top of the gears, right,
In the
but
dead
all
center
of
of shit.
those, yeah, the gears are getting ripped apart and blown apart, and then it cuts to the top of that they're precariously sitting on. Nothing's even shaking.
Everything's fine.
They're just like hanging out. Yeah.
all good here.
It just doesn't make sense.
It's almost like it's a bad movie.
I know.
Anyway, so I think we're at the part in the plot where Tony Shalhoub and Matthew Lillard go back downstairs
They
with
had
the
to
ectoplasmic
plan.
glass, right?
Yeah, we
I don't even
started
know what
talking.
their plan is really at this
Because
point.
we were bored and talking. Yeah. I think it basically, they ripped out one of the containment panes
Yes.
of the ectoglass, and they walk around it like a big riot shield.
Which I was like, how the hell did they get that panel of glass?
They cut to them holding it.
Yeah,
The panel of glass,
one.
the same type of glass that has sliced a man in half
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
seconds. And they're just wandering around
I mean, I'm
with it.
guessing the construction crew probably had some extras in case one, kind of
Yeah.
faulty.
The
something
prop
happened.
master walked over and
Right.
said, "Hold this."
What do you think the contractors were thinking about this house here?
It's like the H.H. Holmes house. You like have somebody build one room and then you kill them, and then you hire somebody else to build another floor and
But
then you
all
kill
the
them.
rooms are see-through.
That is true. Team couch.
Which makes it even more confusing that they ever got lost at any point.
That's
you can
true.
look one
Can't you
direction
just
and
see?
see outside.
Oh,
You're like,
God.
where the fuck is Todd? Only this house is made of glass. We know exactly where he is.
I look
There
up and
he
see
is.
Todd like showering. I just see his feet. Oh,
Todd's feet in the toilet and his phone that
The
he's
tall
playing
man
Candy
glass,
Crush on.
too.
It's like Cyrus is like, "Hello, is this occult construction? I need some help."
Would you like the ectoglass or the non-ectoglass?
yeah,
Oh,
we're having
definitely
some,
gonna need some
we're having some
ectoglass.
trouble painting your containment spells on the. It's, we're gonna run over budget.
We're gonna need another week on that.
Ah, damn you, occult construction always screwing me on the bills.
They said they can't work today because it's raining, but it's not raining.
Anyways, they have a random sheet of glass somehow.
They
that they're
do, and they
carrying
just
the fuck around.
They wander around with it behind it, like none of the ghosts. Can
Also,
just-
this is the point in the film where everyone looks like they're going through heroin withdrawal.
yeah.
Everyone's real pale, sweaty, shaky for no reason.
It's like the first 20 minutes of Evil Dead, the remake. I can make a joke about a horror movie.
Aw.
Yay!
Hey, team chair.
Team chair.
So then they have their glass riot spell plan, and it's working. They get attacked by a baseball bat guy, and he never thinks to just reach around the glass and bonk him. With
No,
a
no,
baseball
please. He's a very selfish jock. He
He's a
would never
narcissist.
give a reach around. So he's.
bat. They don't do that in locker rooms at all.
Yeah, that's never happened in a locker room. So they're holding their riot shield, and sparks are just going off all over the place because
They
the
are,
bat
yeah.
guy is swinging at it. I don't understand why Matthew Lillard jacking roses. Willard, thank you. Why he jacking roses? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I know, because there's not enough room because he's body shaming Matthew Lillard now.
Is it because the ghosts are coming from two different directions?
I think so.
So
They
that
have
must
to
be it.
barricade
I heard the
themselves.
tin whistle playing, so he had to
Yeah.
sacrifice himself.
I thought he was just tired of being in the movie.
He probably was. He was like, fuck these guys. They don't know shit about ectoglass.
You know what
Or
sounds better than being in this movie? Craft services. Tony Shalhoub, hold this riot shield
Right.
ectoglasm door.
He just got
Let's do
tired
this.
of condescendingly
They
explaining
did
all
shove
this
the
stuff.
baseball ghost through the wall. I thought they killed the baseball ghost for a second.
They
No,
did.
You can't kill a ghost.
They did. They smushed one with the glass.
What do you have, a magnesium
He blew
flare?
the fuck up. No, he blew the fuck
blew up.
Yeah, they smushed him with
You
the
may-
glass, which apparently kills them. And so they were like, cool.
But he didn't
And
die.
then the hammer shows up
Oh yeah,
And
I like the
then
hammer.
The Juggernaut shows
up.
up. But at the end, the baseball guy comes back because Tony Shalhoub has to count them all out.
Right.
Because
the
you
rules
can't-
are fast and loose.
Because you can't kill a
Fast and
ghost.
loose.
Wait, why'd they go in the basement?
To find the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Okay.
that
The kids that we forgot
dipshit
about.
with the
'cause
goddamn scooter. Yeah, you don't care about.
exactly.
So anyway, ghosts are coming from 2 different corridors, right?
Yeah, and they-
Matthew Lillard is like,
Pincher
Tony
maneuver.
Shalhoub, you have to make it because your career will survive this movie. Mine will not.
Aw.
So he saves him. He puts him behind the glass.
He does.
Which apparently was the heaviest piece of glass in the world. How the hell they carried it down there, we'll never know. Because Shalhoub had the hardest time getting out from that
He
thing.
did.
This scene
Yes,
was
he did.
ruined, as Todd points out, because Matthew Lillard psychically sees this scene
Thank you.
20 minutes ago.
And we think he's gonna like outsmart him and
Yeah,
like then
'cause-
get got by another ghost.
He knows how he's going to die the
Yeah.
entire movie and then lets it happen.
Yeah. And then the Juggernaut just lifts him up after the hammer and the Juggernaut kind of territorially fight over who gets to kill him. And then
Which
they
would
lift
have been
him up.
better, though, had they
Yeah.
really
It
duked
would
out.
have.
Had they
and then he
Freddy
gets to
versus
get away.
Jason
Yeah,
fight over who
that'd
got
have
to
been-
kill him,
that'd
that
have been
shit would have been dope.
Yeah, team chair.
Team chair.
And then he could have snuck away with the power of his charisma. But no, he gets back broke.
Wrong
D&D
stat.
joke? Charisma check.
Yeah.
Charisma
That's
check.
how he was able to lift all that ectoglass, you know?
You are not good at Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, you're very bad at this.
I've got 20 charisma. Why can't I lift this?
Come on, guys.
Oh, and this is when we realized that new mom is working with not dead evil uncle.
Well, we see, so I was about to say, we see Cyrus as
Painting
not a
around.
ghost. Right.
Yeah. We don't for sure know that he's not a
We
ghost.
do at this point because he
except
kisses her.
I don't know. Can you make out with a ghost?
If they're
Kane-
inhabiting Whoopi Goldberg's body, you can.
But not
Nailed
the
it.
rest of him. Like, you might not know who the fuck this is.
That's right.
Like, I think we know who the shoes and the cane guy are. Like,
Exactly.
We don't need to, like, have this guess moment.
Oh, I
we
thought
see
it was
one.
really the hammer the whole
And then she
time.
hits the maid in the head.
Oh yeah, that's when she turns.
It's
That's
easy
when
to skip that.
we
Yeah.
see a little smirk, and that's when we
I don't
start
want to
think,
call
oh,
the maid a token character, but it
Oh.
definitely was not a progressive.
She's not a maid,
film
She's
road.
the babysitter.
Yeah,
she
she
is
is.
the Will Smith of this movie. And I mean that because she is
She
sort
is.
of a token character, but also the credits are a rap that she writes and performs.
And she gets the comedy line at the very end.
she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so new mom smashes her in the head, and that's how we know that new mom is not on our side anymore. New mom is part of Team Couch, not Team Chair,
Yeah.
and has been working with evil uncle the whole time.
The whole time since before
Fair.
when she
I
was
know.
fucking the other Greenpeace guy trying
Yeah.
to get the books.
Wait,
with
would
the
this
spells.
all work better as like a DuckTales episode?
Ooh. Or a Darkwing Duck. Let's get dangerous.
New mom.
I said that once right before sex. It didn't go well.
Because she
Sex
like,
is always dangerous.
distracted you and then ran
Well,
out.
she wasn't even in the mood.
Oh my god. Jin low key with the real low blow.
Team
Oh,
Chair
you
has
will.
turned on each
You're
other.
just gonna have to listen back to that one later. That's a good
Future
one.
Team Solo Chair.
Oh, you're nothing without me.
So new mom has turned on the
okay,
crew.
so new mom has turned on the group, and now
Hits her with
new
the
mom.
Necronomicon.
Oh, and we find out that guy's not dead.
Yes, he's not dead. He's still got his neck slash thing. They
we
make
find out that he's the Joker and she's his Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I don't really get that reference, but I'll go with it.
Yeah,
Here's the most obvious pop culture reference of all time.
yeah, for real. Like, how did you not get that?
I haven't seen that movie.
Some things you just don't have to see, but that's fine.
That's
We're
true.
Guys,
I
I'm
get
currently
it.
seeking new members for Team Chair.
Oh,
taking applications.
Hit me up at hashtag Team Chair.
Yes, hashtag team chair.
but then here's what's weird because then he says the kids are now in danger. We're going to use the kids as bait, and that's when she starts feeling bad about the whole thing. Like, did she not know this was the whole plan
I mean,
all the
I'm
time?
pretty sure she knew.
They were
Yeah,
like,
she has to have known.
yeah,
What the
no,
fuck?
but that's when she starts
Oh,
to
I mean,
grow
I'm
a
with you.
conscience. Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck were you
But
thinking?
she gives Cyrus the book. She gives him the
Spells.
audio
The
recordings.
spells.
Yeah,
The
the
spells.
spells.
The
Will you love me
spells.
now?
She
I
is
did everything
missing
you
the
wanted.
Don't be
real,
mad
though.
at me.
Yeah.
New
The
mommy's
real
got some
missing.
daddy issues for
She
sure because
does,
Cyrus is way old for her.
Well, you don't become a ghost spell person from a great upbringing.
Then we start the recording that starts to summon the ghosts. So, and she gets squashed in the
yeah,
wall.
he kills her right then.
It's not a very good squash scene, but
No,
It's
it's not.
Yeah,
like, I feel like you could have come up with a better way to kill her.
they blew all their money on the cut in half scene.
They
They
did.
didn't
Which
get the
was-
squashing. the first
I mean,
time.
honestly, when I saw that split in half scene, I was like, oh shit,
You were
this
prepared
is
for some
definitely
shit.
going to be too much for me. This movie's going to be too much.
Yeah.
But the rest of the movie was not too much for me. Like, it was not that scary.
You got
Yeah.
catfished.
Okay, Monk and the wife reconnect through the glass.
Yes,
and the
they
mom
have a
comes
moment.
up and they have a little moment. And they could just like go go around.
Yeah,
he's
still too scared to go
each other.
talk to his wife.
It's because she got all that gum. He doesn't want to get stuck to her.
Well, and then she disappears.
She does.
Well, into her place or
because
whatever.
they start, the summoning thing, and she has to go.
Yeah.
Even the power of love can't contradict that spell
ghost
thing.
rules.
And then we see that the kids are somehow in the middle of this machine, which I don't know how that happened. I guess New Mom did it before she tried to save the day or something.
Things and stuff.
Yes, stuff happens.
And it's like this giant, like, circular blender thing with, like, just it'll slice in too. And Shannon Elizabeth and Minnie Taloob are in the middle of it.
We haven't talked about Minnie Taloob in a while. He's now
Thank
back.
God.
The movie hasn't talked about Minnie Taloob in a while.
Honestly, he's only in this for about 35, 40 minutes at most.
He is,
Yes.
yeah.
Which is almost too much, really.
Yeah.
I would argue is too much.
They just
He's
had to
not
shoot on
great.
weekends.
His parents are divorced. So every 2
It
weeks
could only
he was
happen when the
staying
dad,
with
when
his
it was the
dad.
dad's weekend, because the mom was not
His
supposed
dad's
to know.
the director of the movie. Like, it's-
He didn't want the mom to know that he was involving his kid in this.
I have custody too, Sheila.
He's gonna be famous one day.
He's not.
You see, son, the mom has two faces because she's a two-face.
I think we're getting to the root of this now. Oh.
The plan is for Monk to jump into the machine and cut himself in half, and he's the sacrifice. And
To
he
become the
becomes
13th ghost, yes.
right? And that's when we see evil.
Is that really the plan? Is to jump into the
Yes.
like the gears?
That's
That's what
evil
they tell
uncle.
him.
Oh.
Yeah.
So was that the ocular inferno?
Inferno.
Yeah, the
The
ocular
ocular
inferno. If he
inferior.
had jumped into those gears and got grinded up, that would have opened the ocular inferno, and evil uncle would have unlocked all the secrets of the universe or whatever.
But most likely the devil would have just shown up.
Exactly.
Which
or they
would
all
have
just,
actually
like,
been still a better
That'd
movie.
been
sink
cool.
into a
Yeah.
sinkhole. Then I wrote DJ Babysitter flips the switch, because that's when she
Oh my
starts.
God, I
like,
forgot about
yes.
that. She's fucking scratching the goddamn reel to reel.
She
Oh my
is.
God.
And the ghosts are like, what's going on? This isn't the beat I'm used to. So they start like walking around.
She's got some fucking hot
Well, it
DJ skills over there.
Yeah, it releases the 12 ghosts from their crypnotic
Their
whatever
circle
space.
spell.
Oh,
yeah.
it doesn't just do that. She blows up the whole house.
She does.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
No. The power of love blows up the whole house.
No,
I
I
think.
don't think Huey Lewis or the news
she
were there.
starts doing all the
They
liver.
were.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
she
absolutely
starts.
right.
She pushed down all three pedals at the same time.
Sustain and release? No. But then we also see Matthew Lillard show up now that he doesn't have his
Now that
life
he
trauma.
is,
The 13th
I think,
ghost.
the 13th ghost. Yeah.
He is. And he gives
One might
Tony
argue.
Shalhoub the power to save his children by saying, you've had this inside you the whole time.
You've always known math.
You have.
This is math.
This is just math. And man, this is the dreamiest Matthew Lillard I think has ever looked.
I
Because he's
think he
just
looks
lounging
yeah.
in that suit. He's got a little blood on him, but
I mean,
it's
he
okay.
makes that shirt work somehow.
Yeah. He gives Tony Shalhoub in that moment the courage to jump across to save his kids.
He does.
To make the most impossible jump
Jump.
in all of history jumps.
Also for no reason.
So here's what happens. Like all the 12 ghosts now come to get evil uncle. But first we have the reverse CSI Miami shot where Tony Shalhoub slow motion takes off his glasses, realizes that evil uncle has been alive the whole time, and then he can go punch him and fight him. And it's Tony
He
Shalhoub.
counts the ghosts first.
Count.
And he's like, there's already 12.
I only have 10 fingers.
Which he was counting them on his fingers like he's some kind of special ed student.
I at
with his
one point
pinky.
wanted to see him look down at his foot and like reveal, like the reveal of that scene was that he was wearing sandals.
And he looks up
And
his
then
big
he like
toes.
moves two of his toes. Yeah,
Wait,
that shit would have been
I
hilarious.
think we need to unpack this.
Share.
I think we need to unpack the scene more because he leads out to the hall, sees his uncle, goes back in.
Oh, yeah.
Counts the ghost on his finger, goes back out of the hall, takes the glasses off, and he's like, that motherfucker.
And the uncle at this point is like, ruh-roh.
Yeah, it only took him 7 minutes to figure that out.
I know.
If only I could have gotten away in that time.
If only I could have snuck up while Tony Shalhoub, who was into math, took 25 minutes to count to 12 and pushed him into the Oculus Pinoculus
couldn't
and
figure-
then won the movie.
He
If
couldn't
there's
figure out what
already
to do when he
12
ran
ghosts,
out of fingers.
my uncle's not a ghost.
So dumb.
I wasn't wearing sandals.
It was
Damn
a Scooby-Doo moment.
It really was.
It really was.
It was.
Anyway, so Tony Shalhoub attacks the uncle.
Yeah, in his one and only action fight scene. He
And
also-
gets beat.
Yeah, he does get beat. This is why Tony Shalhoub has only been in one fight.
Exactly.
He lost.
He did not become the action star we all thought he would be.
No. I honestly would love to see a shot-for-shot remake of Die Hard featuring Tony Shalhoub.
That would be awesome. Monk Hard. Okay, so then Monk Ninja Warriors into the circle blender.
Well,
Yes.
no, wait.
Oh yeah,
He fights the uncle, right? And the uncle uses his cane knife No, because now the
Yeah,
he
That's
pulled-
true.
Now
He
it's
does have a
become a
knife,
knife.
as all rich
unsheathed-
people do.
Yeah,
Says,
yeah.
You
I mean,
were
I
always
like
a
this.
loser. You couldn't jump into the thing if you wanted to. Yeah, and that's when all of the 12 ghosts go to attack evil uncle.
Suddenly benevolent.
Yes,
Exactly.
because
Because
the
DJ
maid has
babysitter.
destroyed it and they've been released from their hypnotic or hypnotic state. So they go
Exactly.
pick him up and they throw him into the Oculus Panoculus and he breaks apart, which would have splattered Shannon Elizabeth and Minnie Shalhoub with blood, but it doesn't.
So what's the next scene?
The next scene is when Monk Ninja Warriors into the blender.
Sure
Yeah.
does.
And that's when the house explodes.
Sure does.
And he's just like shielding his kids from the house exploding
though?
glass. Except because what
Yeah,
we talked
is
about
he?
is none of the glass is exploding
Yeah,
around
like it
that.
cuts from like it's like the basement is exploding, but above the basement nothing's
Exactly.
happening. It's
yeah,
fine.
but he does save them from nothing. He just covers them up from
Yeah.
the blender, and then everything stops and the whole house explodes. And then we see the ghosts walk off into
They
the
do walk off into the
wilderness.
sunset.
Except for Jackal.
he just kind of saunters out there.
Yeah, he has a nice little moment of like howling at the moon or something. I'm
Yeah.
free.
Do these ghosts just go do their evil shit that they were doing beforehand? Like, I'm
Yeah,
some
I think
these,
so.
these
100% should be the beginning of like a Marvel level universe.
Yes.
Where
Right?
there is 13 movies where the ghost of Matthew Lillard helps Shannon Elizabeth track down all of these ghosts.
That would be awesome.
I would
Sold.
watch that.
I would too.
Because
these
there's a
ghosts just
chance
go to
she'll get
murder
naked.
people, right?
That's
Yeah, I mean, they're just going back to doing
That's
whatever
how
the
I
hell
would
they do for their
watch
day job.
Then they reunite with the mom because she has not wandered off into the distance.
Right.
And suddenly she's just better looking.
Yeah, they just didn't feel like putting her makeup on. And then because Tony Shalhoub has jumped into the middle of this thing, they now have no way to get out. So in my version of the movie, they just starve to death on the house.
Well, no,
Figured
they
he just
walk
throws
out.
the fucking kid.
They
No, they-
become
it
the
doesn't show 'em
13th,
walk out.
14th, and 15th ghosts.
Well, no, they just walk out of the house.
How do they get
Because
out?
the gears stop. So the thing that's spinning above them stop. And then they just walk out.
Oh,
No,
that's
there's
right.
a-
It is
there's a-
like
there's
the
a
floor
gap.
and it just comes up. Oh, and then we have the glass scene where the nanny quits, where she's just stomping around saying,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
quit. I need a vacation. I ain't
Babysitter,
cleaning this shit
babysitter.
up, which Todd called. And was like, this
Oh,
is,
yeah.
This is a 2001 movie. She is absolutely going to have a line at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did.
And she did.
And then
that,
she had a rap at the end, so
she did. What,
doubled
what?
up.
Yeah. Mirror, mirror. My shark is like
Roll
a hat
credits.
fits.
And that's the movie. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the fun
I am
The
facts.
more
curious.
interesting version
Yeah, let's
of
talk
this
about the
movie.
Yeah.
interesting part of this movie.
I mean, box office is pretty quick.
Do it.
So, guys, this movie cost $19 million to make.
Okay.
It made $41 million domestically and 26 overseas. So it made $68 million.
So it made money.
It made money. That's
I'll
not
take
even
that return.
including.
Yeah.
That's not even including what they made in DVD
Yeah.
sales and stuff like that. So yeah, they made money on this movie.
And from early 2000 horror, this was very on par with what was being made. So it's
Should've
not
been
like
good
it's
for
not
what
like there
was
was
being made.
better stuff out there. If you wanted to see a scary
What other
movie, this is
movies
what
can
you
we
had.
compare this to?
House
What
on
else?
Haunted Hill.
But this movie had like a lot of stars for the early 2000s too. Like Shannon Elizabeth was a star at this point. Matthew Lillard was a star. Tony
Still.
Shalhoub had been in movies and TV for a while. So yeah.
F.
this
Murray
movie.
Abraham, our main bad guy, he's still a big star.
What
he was
else
always a
has he
star.
been in?
The one that's coming right to mind immediately is Amadeus.
He was Salieri in
Right.
Amadeus.
Yeah.
He's so good in that movie too. I
Okay.
mean, that movie really is about
I
Salieri.
mean, he's a good actor, so how the fuck he was in this, I don't know. But
All right.
Let's do fun facts, Jen.
Fun facts. Okay, so this was a remake of a 1960s movie of the same name.
now, if I'm not mistaken, the F. Murray Abraham character is actually the little boy from the 1960 one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so, because
Oh.
the characters have the same name.
Okay, so in the original movie, the audience had to wear special glasses to see the ghosts.
Oh, that
So-
sounds way cooler.
Right, exactly. So that because it was a William Castle movie, and I think he was the one who did all of those gimmicky kind of things back in the 60s. But so that's one thing they kept is that the characters now have to wear the glasses to see the ghosts. And in the original, it was the audience. This was the first film from a major American studio with 3 Arab American leads.
Yeah,
which-
Shannon Elizabeth.
Yep, Shannon Elizabeth,
Tony
F. Murray
Shalhoub.
Abraham, and Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
which is
Did a
kind of
great
interesting.
job.
And one of the swords in the house was from Highlander.
There can only be one.
Okay, so let's get to the ghosts because this is the most interesting part of
Yes.
this whole
Please
movie.
do.
Okay, so the firstborn son was the kid with the arrow
Through his head, yeah.
Through his head. His story's not that interesting. Like he found a real arrow in his dad's closet or something and was playing with a friend and accidentally got shot through the head.
That friend can fucking pull a bow back, I
I
guess.
know,
Holy
yeah. Well,
shit.
apparently
His
the
friend was
kid,
34 years old.
and
Special friend. Very special friend.
well, the kid was kind of a dick, and like all the kids in the neighborhood got tired of him like pretending to be a cowboy all the time. So that's what
Stop
happened.
pretending to be a
with
cowboy. It's 1994.
that. Exactly.
So they murdered him.
Yeah.
It was an accident. They tried to shoot the apple off his head or something. Okay, so the second one is the torso. and he is Jimmy the Gambler Gambino. And he made a bet with a rich businessman, but then the boxer he bet on lost, and he couldn't afford to pay the bet out. So the mob cut him into pieces, wrapped him in cellophane, and dumped him in the ocean. The third one is the Bound Woman. She was a cheerleader who apparently... We got 2 Todds on the podcast now.
Let me see them bloopers.
So she apparently would like to play with men's hearts, and she was also
amongst other things.
Roo-rah, Rega.
All right, so she was the prom queen, and her prom boyfriend
Talk at me.
busted in on her cheating on him and killed him and killed her and tied her up and strangled her and then buried her under the 50-yard line of the football field.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's a
for
lot
one.
of work,
Did
man.
not seem
Yes.
like a passionate crime or a crime of
no.
passion.
Yeah.
That was definitely
Well-
That's definitely
a little-
pre-planned. Yeah.
At his trial, he said, "She broke my heart, so I broke her neck." So the next one is for the withered lover, which
The mom.
is the
Are we doing
mom.
all of them?
Okay, but here's how the house burned down. They lit a fire next to the Christmas tree, and one
Well,
of the
that's how that
logs
happens.
bumped out and lit the Christmas tree on
I
fire.
This is
honestly-
Oh, this is
irresponsible.
just like Manchester by the Sea.
Spoiler alert.
I honestly
God.
thought we'd find out that Cyrus started the fire.
Oh, that would have been a
could
better
have.
movie.
But
Yeah.
he
It
didn't
would
start
have.
the fire.
No,
Cyrus.
it has
It was
always
always
burned
burning.
since
Yes.
Christmas started turning.
yeah.
Team cheer.
Team chair.
I kicked
With
that
an
off.
assist from Team Cal.
Yeah, I
Half
don't
a
know.
point.
Okay.
All right. So the next one is the Torn Prince, which is the baseball guy.
Yeah,
We've
we
already
talked about
talked
him.
about him.
Fuck
Yeah.
that guy.
Then the Angry Princess,
We talked about her.
Todd's
Yeah.
favorite ghost. But her
We didn't talk about how she
story,
happened.
she had very low self-esteem.
I could tell.
No.
And despite being beautiful, and she dated a lot of abusive boyfriends.
Yep.
So she had a really low body self-image, and she got addicted to plastic surgery. She started
Yeah.
She started working in a plastic surgery office,
Okay.
and the doctor would pay her in procedures. So then
Okay.
one night, late at night, she
Seems clever.
decided to do a procedure on her own. So she
That's not how that works.
exactly well, she blinded herself and mutilated her face, and she got so sad that she killed herself by cutting herself up in the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the
I mean, she
Angry
hit
Princess.
a lot of places where there are no vital organs. She's not
yeah.
very smart.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
would you cut your nipple off if you're
Seems,
trying
yeah.
to kill yourself?
because she just didn't think she was good enough.
Because that's what makes me sad.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she was
That would
hot
make me
though.
happy.
yeah, I like the
She was
arrow.
hot. It wasn't usable nudity, but she was hot.
You just
But
like
like
saying
she was
usable
like
nudity.
Jane Doe hot. She wasn't
Yeah,
like hot.
dead hot.
Yeah.
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 Corpse
Oh, a
hot.
little necrophilia.
yeah.
What's up?
Todd's not into that.
No, I'm
Clearly
out.
he is though.
No, I'm out. No, that's why I say it's not usable nudity.
I don't know.
Not usable.
You're protesting a little too hard.
Listen,
Yeah.
guys, I'm totally not into
Totally
it.
not thinking about that. Believe it or not.
Jen, I want to watch those special features. Can I borrow that DVD?
So the next one is the Pilgrimess, and she's the one we see in the stocks, and she was
One
found
time. We see her one time.
one or two times. Yeah, she was found guilty of witchcraft, and they
Naturally.
tried to burn her, but she would not be burned
Oh, shit,
because
she's a witch.
probably an actual witch. So they put her in the stocks and just let her starve to death in the stocks.
Okay.
So, yeah.
She turned me into a newt.
How
I
was
got
she?
better.
I got better.
The next one, this is the Great Child and the Dire Mother.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
they are
yeah.
circus freaks.
Oh,
Yes, he
yeah.
So the dire mother is like 3 feet tall. She gets raped by the tall man,
Oh.
has the great child who ends up being over 300 pounds.
He's a big boy.
She's super protective of him. He wears diapers in his entire
Yeah, he
life,
is.
and she feeds him. So you see his bib with the food on it.
Yeah, it's gross.
Coming out
So-
of his mouth.
They have this crazy story with this. Apparently, some people didn't like them being circus freaks and kidnapped the mom and accidentally killed her. So then Harold,
As
the
you
big
do.
Harold the big child, killed them all with an axe and started displaying their body parts as his own circus show.
Also, as you do.
Yeah, and then the circus guy was really mad and killed him.
Oh, that sounds like that does sound like a
That's
better
a way
movie.
better movie.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is the Hammer, which you guys said John Henry.
Yeah.
John Henry.
Okay, which is similar. So you may notice he's an African American blacksmith.
Oh.
He was
racist?
wrongfully accused of stealing. A
Also racist.
gang tried to make him leave his
I think he prefers
house.
African American Smith.
Word. Yes.
Can we give them a point for that?
Yeah, that's a
Team
point.
check.
Come on. Now, did this gang happen to be wearing like sheets of any kind?
Of a certain color. I think they were all the same color.
Okay,
I think
cool.
They were
parts of
dressed
them-
as ghosts.
They were.
ghost-
Yeah.
Were they 13 of them? He refused to leave the town, so the gang
Pulaski.
hung his family
Oh God.
What?
and burned the bodies.
Okay.
And then
Rude.
So George killed them all with his sledgehammer.
Okay, yeah.
And
Okay.
the rest of the town officials were very upset about this
I mean, yeah, I get it.
because they were on the side of the gang back then. And so they tied
And
him to a
sometimes still.
tree and drove all the railroad spokes into his body, which is why there's all the nails sticking out of
Gotcha.
him. And then they Candymanned his hand and gave him
Oh.
his sledgehammer for his hand.
Seems like a lot of work when you could have just done that way easily.
Yeah, you just could have
Exactly.
killed him or something.
just-
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
Still sounds like a cool movie.
It would
It
be a cool
does.
movie, though.
All of these are cooler than the actual movie.
Anthology.
And you
throw
Who has the
Matthew
rights to this?
Lillard
We
in
need to
there.
find who has the rights to this.
For
we can
real.
make this happen.
If they will admit it. The Jackal, we already talked about the Jackal. And the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut's the one we see in Stephen Avery's Junkyard. He is the ghost of a serial killer. He was born and he was super tall and he was abandoned by his mother at birth, so he never learned to love. His father raised him in the junkyard. And so once his father died, he would start to pick up hitchhikers and tear them apart, and he would systematically break every bone in their body. He finally picked up an undercover cop, and a SWAT team got him in his junkyard, similar to the scene in the beginning,
Yep.
and he killed 3 of the SWAT guys, but then they got him, they shot him, and he died.
It's a big dude. He's
Yeah.
like 6'9".
That actually explains the caution tape if
Yes,
that
it
happened
does.
recently.
Oh, the crime scenes. Oh, shit.
Yeah. But
This movie is
It
way
wasn't-
smarter than we gave it credit for.
Well,
No,
sort
no,
of.
no,
that
no.
one scene is at least.
It seems like one guy worked a lot harder than everyone else in this movie.
Right, right.
Is that all
he's
the
like, all
ghosts?
day, he's like,
That's
more
all it is,
caution
yeah.
tape.
Nice.
You're
Yeah.
right. We need more cowbell caution tape.
backstory?
Yeah, whatever, nerd.
What's your motivation? The body count is 4, not including the junkyard scene, which is dumb to not include that. So screw you,
Damn.
IMDb.
Yeah, like 3 or 4
Extras.
dudes die in that scene.
I know. Yeah,
That
that's
one
half
dude
your
gets
body
bent
count.
backwards.
That's so brutal. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sucked into the trunk. Yeah, that's all my fun facts.
Yeah, scary scale.
Hey,
So
listeners.
Jen, explain that scary scale.
Our scary scale is a ranking of how scary we found this movie today. It's not the quality of the movie. I have a suspicion, I think, what the quality rankings would be. It's not the quality of the movie. It's how scared we actually were when we watched it today. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters, and our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Jacob, guess
Oh
first.
my god. It is the least scary of the scaries, in my opinion.
So you give it a 1?
So you won?
Yeah, if we're going
One?
1 to the lowest, it's got to be 1. If I give it half, I'd give it half.
You can't. 1 is as low as we can go.
We tried to go 0 on something
But
else.
I will add in extra animosity.
She wouldn't let
as
us
a
do
note.
a 0 for
Oh.
The Nightmare Before Christmas.
1
I
with a
would.
little extra salt.
1 with an asterisk
Salty.
of salt.
A little salty.
If it was me, I would give us a 4.
What?
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
There
All
were
right.
there were some scary moments.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, there were some scary moments. When that guy got cut in half, I was not prepared for that.
Yeah.
And that did scare me. I think I drive heat a little bit.
You did.
It
Yeah.
was not good. But it wasn't like as scary as even The Thing. The Thing was a little bit more scary than this.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
The Thing does
Oh,
a good
yeah.
job of creating a scary atmosphere. This movie
Oh,
does
yeah.
not at all.
Yes.
So it's really just that one jump scare and then a little bit of gruesome stuff at the beginning. And then honestly, once the guy gets cut in half, the rest of it's sort of an easy ride to Boarsville.
Right. It's like watching a BuzzFeed article about 13 ghosts, and you're just kind of like, ooh, that's interesting, you know?
Which ghost are you?
Yeah, exactly.
this
Which
quiz.
2 ghosts do your
I
personality?
would just go to r/saved you a click on Reddit and then figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 1. I think Ghostbusters is way scarier than this movie.
Do you? I haven't seen
True,
Ghostbusters in a long
true.
time. So.
True.
Yeah, true. It's got that library scene in the
The
sequel.
library scene is.
Winston.
Oh my god.
I love saying that.
She thinks the second one is the first one and the first one is the second one.
Oh, don't
It's
do
the
that.
war. Ghostbusters is also one of my favorite movies.
I like the second one better.
What?
I love all the uplifting moments when they sing that "Love is lifting me higher and
No.
higher."
No.
The Statue of Liberty. It's awesome. So you give it a 1.
Yes.
I'm gonna give this a 2. I think.
Okay, that's fair.
There is okay, and here's the thing, because when you were talking about the atmosphere, there's so much scary imagery in here that should work, but there's no scary atmosphere at all, and I think that's why it falls apart, because it's just scary things to look at. It's not.
It's because the house is supposed to be scary and it's not at all because it looks ridiculous.
Exactly. It doesn't feel scary at all.
Well, they
I
could
think-
have shot it in ways that would have made it scary too. Like if the ghost had orbed up behind people and they had done like the thing in The Descent where the camera pans through and then pans back and it's there, like that would have been scary.
If this were
But they
found
didn't
footage, I think that could have been scary.
Maybe, but this was not scary at all. Literally, when the guy gets cut in half from the rest of it, it's just like a boring movie.
I think part of it's the script. I think part of it's the acting. I think it's like it's got all of the ingredients, but it just never comes together.
I agree with
you
that.
know?
Yeah.
They definitely try to do some camera stuff to make it kind of like that, like all the movement. There's so like that was like 15 minutes of just the camera was never still,
Right.
and it was about to drive me crazy.
Apparently,
it just falls flat though.
it was actually causing seizures. That was a fun fact I forgot.
I was about to ask. Like, we need to go back.
That's why I texted you yesterday and asked you if you'd ever had a seizure because I didn't
Oh,
want you to get
yeah, I was like, why did she ask me that? It's very weird.
Hey, can we talk about how I never got a text?
because I knew you'd
we're not
seen
gonna
it
ask Mike
before.
because if he flips out, it's gonna be great.
I know. We'll have to use it. No, because I knew you'd seen it before.
Check out our socials where Mikey has a seizure. Welcome to the podcast.
So, Jen, you made me watch 13 Ghosts this week.
Yeah.
What are we watching next week?
Oh, next week. I am so excited. I'm not crazy about this movie, but I love the book. We're going to watch Misery, which is one of my favorite books ever. Now, we're not going to watch the book. We're going to watch
This
the
is the
movie.
Stephen King Misery?
This is a Stephen King version
Okay.
of Misery. Rob Reiner with Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
What's
Some
the
say
dude's
it's
name?
his best movie adaptation.
Yeah, I might like it a little bit better. I'm in a more healthy mental space than I was when I watched it the first time, so I might like it more. We'll see.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I got
You're in a
thoughts
better
about it.
mental health space now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm glad I just met you last June.
Oh, yeah.
I can sort of see you putting this movie on like at a party and not really watching it with a group of people while
Sure.
you play like Cards versus Humanity or some
Or
shit like
Dungeons
that.
and Dragons.
This is a good
Definitely.
Netflix and chill movie.
Either way.
Yeah.
So, guys, make sure you watch Misery before next week.
And read the book, too. It's really good.
Before next week, yeah, it's not long or anything.
Yeah, so Jacob, where can we find you?
Oh, me personally, you
Yeah.
can find me at Jacob_Hopkins on Twitter, modernhorrors.com for all your wonderful horror needs, including some podcasts from these fine people.
Yeah.
Our own podcast, a couple others, Death, Dying, and Other Things.
And the Final
And
Girls.
The Final
Yeah.
Girls.
You
So,
can't forget those ladies.
Yeah.
Those
You'll,
West
you'll find
Coast
somebody
ladies.
you like there, some information occasionally, and we're working on a movie. So,
Yeah.
God Country, and that's
Lots of
on
awesome
Twitter.
stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you can find us
Yeah,
at
sure.
Horror
All
Virgin
those
on
places.
everything.
Yeah, on everything. If you type in Horror Virgin into Google, we'll be somewhere on that first page, depending upon how we rank for SEO.
I used to, yeah, and so you can find me, Jim Ferratu, on on Instagram and Twitter. I don't really
Yeah,
do
and I'm on
anything else.
Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as Todd J. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Mikey.
Yeah, I'm on there as mrandolph24, Instagram and Twitter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Todd's
Check
got
out.
to teach me Twitter, though, because I still don't know how to use it.
He
It's
taught me
great. I'm
Twitter.
surprised you don't use it very much.
I don't. I
Because
need
your
to
brand of
learn.
humor would do well on Twitter.
Yeah,
I'll
I
teach
think so,
you.
too.
Yeah,
I do need some lessons.
Yeah, I'll
Maybe
teach
it's
you.
the Twitter
It's
app I'm
easy.
using.
You tweet.
it's called Twitter.
I use the official app. It doesn't ever make sense to me.
We'll
we'll show
workshop this. We'll workshop this.
Jen has a blog. She writes on horrorvirgin.com. Although some of your stuff has been on Modern Horrors, even the YouTube channel, because we recorded some of them that they've made videos out of that have been
It
really
did
cool.
very well.
Which
Even
are on
got, the attention of Mr. Mike Flanagan. So
That's right. I
Yeah,
know that
so-
was awesome. Yeah,
So
your
check that
favorite
video
director.
or those videos out on Modern Horrors YouTube.
YouTube, yeah, which
Yeah.
should be on the site as well.
Hey guys, if you want to become a member of our Patreon page, if you want to become a patron, we've got lots of awesome stuff. We just did our first listener request episode, The Thing.
We'll
probably
be doing another one very soon.
We will,
In fact,
yeah.
by the time you hear this, it probably has started.
Yeah,
And there'll be a sweet video of Mikey having a seizure. So
that's
And
right.
all of the video content, you get to watch me watching trailers, all the stuff we put out video wise. So, guys, make sure you check out the Patreon. We really appreciate all of you guys who helped make this.
That's going to be it from us, everybody. Jacob, thank you so much for joining us. I'm
Thanks for having
Jen.
me.
Oh, I'm Mike.
I'm Mikey. I ruined podcast extras.
I'm Michael. I ruined the end of the podcast.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd, guys. Watch Misery next week. Bye. Nerds.